This is going to be my second video update coming to you from Athens, Greece, in the center of Athens. Right down that way is the ETHEREUM shopping street. Very, very busy today on this Sunday. Everyone is out shopping today on a very hot Sunday, by the way. A lot of tourists around as well, but let's do a second video update and let's talk about what's going on in Ukraine. And I think this title from the fantastic journalist, diplomat, geopolitical analyst, MK Badrakumar kind of sums up what this video is about. And the title of his latest article is "Ground Beneath Elensky's Feet is Shifting." And I want to read you a couple of paragraphs from this article, paragraphs towards the end of this article. I'll put a link to this down below as well in the description box. But basically, Badrakumar, he's kind of discussing how things in the Ukraine conflict are indeed shifting for the collective West, for the Bidenopoulos White House, Greece's favorite son, Joe Bidenopoulos, and most importantly for Elensky. And he talks about how things are shifting on a military level, but more importantly on a geopolitical, economic level as well, and on a media level. And let me read you some of what MK Badrakumar says here in this article. He's speaking about the international support in this excerpt, specifically about the latest UN resolution, which the collective West did not talk about. And it was a UN resolution about, I don't know, a couple weeks ago, I want to say. And in this resolution, which was meant to condemn Russia, the results did not turn out so favorably for the collective West and the Zelensky regime. Here's what Badrakumar had to say. Internationally, of course, the support for Ukraine has dropped dramatically. Kiev's proposal Wednesday to condemn Russia attracted the backing of just 48 out of 193 UN member states, whereas at the March 2nd UN GA session, 141 member countries had voted for a non-binding resolution to condemn Moscow. Okay, so Wednesday, not a couple of weeks ago, on Wednesday, they put forth this resolution to condemn Russia, and the results were very, very bad for the collective West. I actually think that not one African or EU country actually voted to condemn Moscow, and I think the only countries in South America that actually voted in favor of this resolution were Colombia and another country, I forget. But only two countries in South America actually voted to condemn Russia as well. So this turned out very, very badly for the Zelensky regime, and of course the collective West, which is pulling the strings of the Zelensky regime to try and get this resolution to condemn Russia passed. And what this shows is the eroding away of support for Ukraine, which means, as we have been saying on the Duran, and as Alexander has been saying for some time now, Russia's plan, one of their major plans with regards to the special military operation, was to not go so hard into Ukraine, because you had to, on an international level, on a geopolitical level, on a diplomatic level, you had to make sure that that many of the big players in the world, that many countries were not going to turn on you. We're going to either remain neutral or over time show support for what was happening in Ukraine, and it looks like that that plan has worked out perfectly for Russia. Opa. One sec. All right. 1 o'clock. 1 o'clock. So here's what else. Here's what else, Badra Kumar, MK Badra Kumar. Here's what else he said in this article. He said, equally, Elensky's Teflon coating is peeling off. His drug addiction is out in public view. The regime is shaky as the wave of purges in the Ukrainian security establishment shows. According to Turkish President Recep Erdogan, who met Elensky in Lvov recently, the latter sounded insecure and unsure whether he is being kept informed of the ground situation. Zelensky's erratic behavior is not exactly endearing him either. Pope Francis is the latest figure to be chastised by Kiev because the pontiff remarked that Daria Dugina was innocent. The Vatican ambassador was summoned to the foreign ministry to receive Kiev's protest. The German daily Handelsblatt wrote today that the internal cohesion of the Ukrainian government is in danger. There are serious allegations against the president. At home, the Ukrainian president, who is celebrated abroad as a war hero, is under pressure. The comedian has become a warlord. The 44-year-old has so far been able to switch and act freely with his team, which is partly made up of colleagues from his television production company, but the grace period now seems to have expired. The daily forecast an approaching political upheaval by winter. This is pretty much a summary of what we've been saying on the Duran for some time now. Elensky's love of the white powdery stuff, the paranoia that is setting in with Elensky, as was exhibited during his meeting with Erdogan in Lviv, where he said that there are members of his inner circle that are working against him. The purges of SBU officials that have taken place, including the SBU head, who happened to be Elensky's childhood friend and his campaign manager, the lashing out of Ukrainian ambassadors towards various heads of states. I've talked in great detail about the Ukraine ambassador in Germany and how he was lashing out at the German government almost weekly until he was relieved of his duty in Germany. Then we had the incident which took place just a couple of days ago with the Ukraine Foreign Ministry lashing out at Pope Francis. And now you have the statement from Badra Kumar, which is saying that Zelensky is pretty much now a warlord in his own country, and all of the leeway, the grace period that he had in Ukraine to act freely has pretty much expired, and the people will begin to turn on Zelensky because things are just not going well at all. So you have the international community turning on Zelensky. You're going to have his very own people in Ukraine turning on him. He's on borrowed time. He is on borrowed time. And that may be the reason why you see CNN running an article the other day where they cite various military experts who claim that Ukraine is shifting focus now from a conventional war to a type of citizen guerrilla war. This is almost an admission from CNN that Ukraine has indeed lost the military conflict, the conventional military conflict, and now has to shift to some sort of citizen uprising / media information war / guerrilla sabotage warfare. And CNN has called this type of fighting, this blueprint for where they believe the Ukraine conflict is heading. They call it a resistance operating concept, an ROC. And they're saying this is the blueprint of how Ukraine needs to fight Russia and how they are going to fight Russia going forward, because the conventional war, well, they have lost that. And the ROC, according to CNN, represents, and I quote, an innovative and unconventional approach to warfare and total defense, and guides the actions not only of the Ukrainian military, but also the civilian population. And this is according to Lieutenant General Mark Schwartz. Quote, it's all hands on deck in terms of the comprehensive defense for the government of Ukraine. And this Lieutenant General was in charge of Special Operations Command in Europe during the development of this ROC concept. He said that Ukraine is using every resource, and they're also using some highly unconventional means by which to disrupt the Russian Federation military. Schwartz said it was just unbelievable to watch, despite the unbelievable loss of life and sacrifices, what the will to resist and the resolve to resist can do. CNN referenced the explosions in Crimea, and they also referenced other types of sabotage activities as proof to the point that Ukraine now is shifting the blueprint, which is, this is US developed, NATO developed, by the way, this blueprint, that Ukraine is indeed shifting to this ROC, resistance operating concept type of warfare, which, as I said, is just basically sabotage / terrorism / guerrilla warfare / media info warfare. The conventional war is being lost and is over. Now it's time to shift gears, according to these U.S. military experts and according to CNN. And Kevin D. Stringer, a retired colonel who led the development team for this concept, for this ROC concept, said that since you can't do it conventionally, i.e. fight this war conventionally, you would use special operations, and those forces would need resistance support, intelligence resources, logistics, in order to access these regions, and he's talking about Crimea and other regions in the Russian Federation, in order to commit acts of sabotage. Civilian resistance under the ROC, let's get walking, includes nonviolent actions such as boycotting public events, labor strikes, and even using satire and jokes as a means of resistance. Violent actions like using Molotov cocktails, arson, and putting chemicals in gas tanks to sabotage enemy vehicles are also part of this ROC doctrine. Generally, the doctrine calls for a major PR campaign to control the narrative of the conflict, preventing the dissemination of the other side's message and keeping the population united. Video footage showing destroyed Russian hardware and edited to catchy tunes forms part of the strategy, along with clips of Ukrainian troops rescuing stray animals and daily addresses by President Elensky, whether intentional or not, CNN claimed. And this Stringer, Kevin D. Stringer, claims. What else? At least 15, according to CNN, at least 15 countries have taken part in some form of training on the Pentagon's resistance doctrine over the past decade. Nicole Kirchman, a spokeswoman for Special Operations Command Europe, also revealed. This program isn't universal. It's being tailored in accordance with each country's population, resources, and terrain. CNN's report mentioned Estonia, Lithuania, and Poland as nations that have expressed enthusiasm for the ROC. The resistance operating concept, the ROC. So this is going to get packaged and sold to other countries. You're going to have various trainers getting involved and consulting, and all types of media, sabotage, guerrilla warfare, drones, all these things, regime change operations. All of these things seem to be packaged into this blueprint, this concept of warfare known as the ROC, and that is where Ukraine is shifting towards. This is going to be the plan. And Alexander, in his video yesterday, he talked about how the attacks in Crimea, we now pretty much know what happened with these attacks in Crimea, which took place at Novofedorovka and the airfield. That all of this was done with drones, most likely supplied by Taiwan. 800 drones supplied by Taiwan, which kind of drop these little bombs, missiles into targeted areas, which the goal is to create some sort of sabotage event. And so you had Daria Dugina as well. I don't need to talk about the media soft power that's being employed, not only media that is used to distribute the message of Ukraine is winning, the HIMARS are a wonder weapon, Elensky's going to be marching on Moscow, or the new person that's going to succeed Elensky is going to be marching on Moscow. We're not only talking about an effort being made to massively distribute this type of content using, big media channels and big tech, but we're also talking about this doctrine, this blueprint talks about suppressing and censoring content, which gives an alternative narrative, and we saw that pretty much in the first days of this conflict, when the European Union and much of the collective West, they decided to ban and censor all Russian media. So this article from CNN, to me, falls in line with the previous article, the blog post from the Indian Punchline, MK Badrakumar, and how things are shifting. The ground beneath Zelensky's feet is shifting. The ground beneath Ukraine's feet is shifting. And we are seeing, step by step, a shift from conventional war to this type of ROC, guerrilla sabotage, soft media conflict. And this actually ties into my clown world as well, because in this doctrine, CNN talks about getting all of the Ukraine population involved in this type of guerrilla warfare, this type of sabotage, ROC, resistance warfare. And my clown world plays into this as well. So before I get to my clown world, shall we do one more story? Let's do one more story. And I've been wanting to talk about this for a couple of days, just haven't quite found the opportunity. It's an interesting story, and it talks about how and this also ties in to this ROC blueprint as well. It talks about how the CIA is actually meddling in Russia-Turkey business, and there's a publication in Turkey. I don't know how big this publication is, called Yeni Safak. So people who have an understanding, a knowledge of Turkish media, let me know in the comments down below if Yeni Safak is indeed a widely read publication. Anyway, they are reporting that the Central Intelligence Agency has openly threatened Turkish businessmen for trading with Russia, prying into their real estate deals over concerns about the potential circumvention of U.S. sanctions. The paper, Yeni Safak, has learned that the CIA's Turkey office chief allegedly called high-ranking construction company employees inquiring about transactions and other confidential details of recent real estate purchases involving Russian entities or individuals. Very, very interesting. This is part of the sabotage, media, intel, guerrilla warfare that we're seeing play out now. According to the report, the CIA officer interviewed businessmen under the guise of monitoring the US-imposed anti-Russia sanctions. He was interested to know the exact number of houses sold to Russians, what channels and currency were used for transactions, and whether the payments were made through a bank or cash in hand. And the article goes on to give some more examples of how the CIA is, look, this is like mafia tactics. There's no other way to describe it. The CIA is kind of, grabbing these Turkish businessmen. They're pulling them aside and they're saying, so tell me, what kind of transactions did you make with Russians? What's going on here? What are you guys doing? And don't do it again, or else, don't do it again, or else you'll wake up and you'll find, a horse's head in your bed, in reference to the Godfather 1 movie. You know what I mean? These are types of mafia tactics. And of course, they're meant to subvert relations between Russia and Turkey, because as we've talked about many, many times on the Duran, on this channel, the US is terribly worried. They're panicking over the strengthening relations between Turkey and Russia, and the fact that Turkey and Erdogan do appear to be moving towards the BRICS orbit. So very, very busy here in Ermou. This is Ermou Street. Many cafes. I'm trying to move the camera a little bit over here so you can see all the people having their 1 o'clock coffee. And now we're at the Church of the Theotokos, St. Mary. This is interesting. And after we see this church, I'll do my clown world, so stick with me. This is an interesting church because you have this big shopping district, Ermou, where all the big brands are, all the shopping takes place. And as you walk this street, you run smack right into this this is 11th century Byzantine church dedicated to the Theotokos, the Mother Mary. So let's go in. This is what we'll do. We'll go in, we'll walk on the other side, and then I'll circle in back of the church and we'll do a quick clown world. So let's let me remove the sunglasses and let's see if I can walk through here.
Θα τα ξαναρωτήσετε και πάλι. Πού είναι η μητώτη, εντάξει. Είναι από εκεί. Εγώ εκεί που φέρνω. Πώς περνάμε αυτό το κακή.
I always get very, very nervous. I always feel strange when I don't like to film inside of churches for some reason. So I feel a little bit strange, but this is a very historic church and it would not have been, I don't know, it would not have been right if I didn't show everybody what it's like in this small little church. and it has a very interesting location. So let's do a quick clown world and we will end this video. And if you walk straight down that way, all the way down that way, you end up in Monastiraki and the Acropolis area. So I said that my clown world was related to this ROC blueprint and how one of the aspects of this resistance fighting concept that is now being implemented in Ukraine is to arm all the Ukraine citizens, the civilians, so they can all take part in the fighting. Well, check out this tweet from the city of Miami. Blue check mark, city of Miami. I guess this is real. I guess this is the real deal coming from the city of Miami. Our guns buyback program continues Saturday, August 27th from 10 a.m. through 2 p.m. at Belafonte Tacolsi Center. All guns collected will be sent, okay, to hashtag Ukraine while we help to take guns off of our streets. Hashtag gun buyback, hashtag safe streets. I don't know if this is real or not. I just saw this in a Telegram feed, so I really haven't had time to check this out. So I throw that caveat in there, but it sure looks real to me. This doesn't seem like it's a parody Twitter account of the city of Miami. It doesn't look like this is a fake tweet. If it is, I apologize, but this looks pretty real. It says here, Guns for Ukraine, gun buyback, the City of Miami Police Department. Turn in your firearm to receive a $50 gift card for a firearm, a $100 gift card for a shotgun or rifle, and a $150 gift card for a high-powered rifle. And all of these guns are going to be going to Ukraine. In order to do what? If this tweet is indeed authentic, if this is real, all of these guns are going to go to Ukraine to arm the people, the resistance, the ROC blueprint. Anyway, that is my video coming to you from downtown central Athens at Rose Street. And the Duran.locals.com. Check out Alexander's channel. Check out the Duran's channel. And drop me a like. I never say drop me a like. Drop me a like and share the video. Why not? Take care, everybody.